Hey, and welcome back to the next episode of the Right Hand Drive Guys podcast, the podcast for guys who like right-hand drives. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo.
And welcome to episode 126. And we decided, hey, let's give it a little break on the guests. We got some kind of current events going on in our little corner of the culture, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So why not elaborate on them a little bit, give our opinion. Now, remember, this is always our opinion. We're not representing anyone else. We probably have no clue what we're talking about, but we're definitely trying.
Yeah.
So, as a lot of you guys may know, maybe you don't, there's just some stuff going on, right? And let's just list it right out. So, Nissan just assigned a new CEO.
Yep.
Nissan Motor Carrier just discontinued shipping used cars, period.
Done.
And what's the third one?
Third one is tariffs.
Tariffs
And what they're going to do potentially to the price of these cars and goods we love so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and, it's always cool doing some of these current events because we get to look up the backstory, the history of why it's come to this point. Yeah. So hopefully we can enlighten you guys on some of those things. And we don't do the political thing.
No.
We don't do the political thing. So when we talk about the tariffs, we do not stand on one side or the other. We simply stand as consumers that will be affected by this.
Yeah, that's all we're looking at here.
That's
it.
So let's talk about Nissan CEO.
Yeah, let's do it.
Espinosa.
Yeah,
right?
You know where he's from?
Mexico.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
It's cool. He's definitely got quite the... In the past 20 years, he's got quite the resume with Nissan, right? As I'm sure you saw, he started in Mexico, I believe, and then went to Singapore and then up to Japan. And so he's really traveled that ladder. He has a Bachelor of Business Administration from a college in Mexico I couldn't pronounce. Even if it was in front of me, I couldn't do it. But
can't pronounce it either.
Yeah, so he's educated, he cares, and I'm sure you read some about his stance on like where Nissan's kind of struggling, right? Just in the sense of the sports car thing.
Right.
And so what they're calling him, they're dubbing him is the real car guy.
Yeah.
So pretty much they're saying
that's what I kept seeing.
The last guy was just a desk dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Salary man. Right?
Salary man. And Espinosa is actually into cars and has expressed bringing back the S15. Well, not the S15, the Silvia.
Yeah.
And that is because he believes that the younger car buyers need that entry-level sports car that they can modify to do their thing. And that I'm like, and he said this only 2 years ago. He said that it's going to be an extremely challenging task, but that's what he does, and he's completely down for it. So does that mean Espinosa is going to go out and get us this S16 that you've seen the renders of, 100 times? No. He's got a company. Because he's not just there to do that, right? Maybe that's his goal. But right now, he's got to claw and dig them out of the current situation.
Yes.
The restructuring has to happen, right? So he's got a long ways. And it's, it's kind of like one of those things, right? Like when, let's just say, a leader or president, right? They have good intentions, right? Let's just say they want to fix this.
Yeah.
But they have so much stuff ahead of that. The process is so long that it's easy for somebody that's unfamiliar with the process to be like, oh, okay, he's not doing that.
Right. And plus, who wants to hear about all the work?
Yeah.
Who wants to hear about what really has to happen behind the scenes,
Yeah.
Of course, that's kind of why I guess people gravitate to, he's going to bring back the S16, dude.
Right. That's the big thing.
But, they're a pretty deep hole that he's going to have to get him out of.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it was pretty cool. He didn't come from the typical background either. Most people that run the company or like engineers or have some sort of role like that. But he was like the planning officer.
Yeah.
It was his final like last job before he got promoted.
Yeah. Right. So I mean,
he just has a different approach. So that might be a good thing.
That's probably what the board of directors at Nissan was thinking when they appointed him was, okay, this guy knows how to scrounge. He came from a regular family. He had to work his way up.
Yeah.
He's put in his time. He probably has the right intentions, right? I mean, that would make sense, you know, like, and it almost feels like, okay, shouldn't we be doing something like that? Like, for our president is like a guy with the right intentions in the sense of a guy that came from the bottom, you know what I mean? And so I think they have the right idea. But also, has he ever been in a position that is this challenging, right?
Yeah.
That is this big of a hole, as you said. Has he ever had to dig himself out of something like that? Right. Has he ever seen anybody do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, sure, you have advisors, you have this array of labor that you can use. Yeah. But have they ever dug? So that's kind of a thing, right? Like, we don't know. We don't know his true full story. Yeah. If you do, hit us in the DMs and like spit something about how this guy can do the job. But I mean, I'm optimistic because they didn't just put another quote unquote suit in there. Sure, I'm sure he wears a suit. Yeah. But you get what I mean.
I don't know, the pics I saw of him, he wasn't.
Yeah, no, because he's probably really cool. But I think they're stepping in the right direction, whether he can do it or not. Right. I feel like that's probably where they needed to go because they did suits the last two guys. Yeah. And all it's done is just like nosedive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And yeah, I mean, maybe switching up that approach, that's also like kind of their Hail Mary. Like after the deal with Honda not happening and then not much else really going on per se, right?
Right.
I mean, it's what it kind of looks like to me. Like, well, I mean, what do we have to lose at this point? Let's get this guy in here. And he's been with him for 20 years. Yeah. So, like, that's a decent amount of time.
Yeah, maybe you can throw a Hail Mary and, like, it'll stick. I don't know. You know? I mean, I hope he does. I love to cheer for the little guy, so to speak. And, yeah, but I know a lot of this is, quote-unquote, restructuring their debt and all of these different strategies to reduce the debt without closing. That's their big thing right now. So, I mean, who knows? He might, like we said, you know, he might have some of these strategies. So that's Espinoza, Nissan.
Dude, what do you want to see him do? Where do you want to see him take the company?
I mean, I think he needs to, you know, like the things that we like aside, I personally think he needs to really focus on creating a lineup that a driver will like. Whether you're, and that doesn't mean a sports car driver. Yo, if cruising in, let's just say, cruising in a large Lux SUV is your thing, can't feel a single bump, the car's basically driving for you, you get screens everywhere. Like, if that's your thing, we need to build vehicles like that, right? You know, or if you want to be in a little convertible, two-seater, right? Maybe we need something like that. You know, there's a lot of data, I feel like, that probably needs to be seriously analyzed to figure out where this goes. But if you make it something exciting to drive, and it is 2025, exciting to drive does not just mean you put the pedal to the floor and it hammers down. That's not just what that means.
They figured that out kind of with the GTR, right?
Right,
like
exactly.
That was about time this dude came on to Nissan for the first time. So 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah. And with that, you know, if it's this guy likes to go off-road, okay, you need something capable of that that's going to be exciting while he's doing it.
Right.
And, you know, which they got the Pro 4X and whatever, you know, but refine these things. Really take the input of maybe not guys like us, but the mass of people that are like, hey, this is what we want. Stop giving us kicks.
Right.
You don't want a kicks, dude. Like, like it's just,
Right.
of course that's an entry level car, but still,
Right,
like they need to really find that again. And he probably is that guy, right?
Yeah.
Because he probably thinks like that. Whereas a suit thinks, okay, so we need to cut this and get dividends. And, that, yes, you need to make money, but like you need to get your customer base back.
True. I'm right there with you.
What do you want to see him do?
What do I want to see him do? Dude, bring back a new Skyline, bring back a Sylvia, I mean, honestly,
yes, of course,
come
of
on,
course.
dude. Like,
yeah.
I would like to see that. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I also think they need something to compete with like the Miata in like that class of car. That's like a cheap entry.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't got to be boosted.
Right.
It doesn't got to.
It doesn't have to be an
huge.
R35 where
Right.
it's like this huge buy-in, and they need to have something that is affordable. Something like the FRS. Something
Right.
along those lines.
They missed it with the Z though because of that pricing.
And the Z is just too.
Yeah, and I think he
just
knows
out
that.
of grass. Yeah,
I feel like he knows that because, right, you can get an FRS or you can pay another $15, $20 for a Z. Dude, it's 2025. Right. Americans, I mean, nobody can really afford to go the Z route no matter how bad they want to. They have to stick with the FRS, and that's why that thing is sold.
Right, and they're all over the place. Everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Oh, yeah. In Japan, it was insane. Yeah, I mean, so... But, dude, just imagine, right? He does turn it around. He creates a Sylvia. He makes an R36. He sticks to non-EV. Dude, just imagine the day after those drop and they sell like crazy. He walks into that office. The doors blow right off the friggin' building, dude. Everybody's just bowing to him, dude. Like, for real. I can only imagine,
throw a parade for him in Yokohama,
yes,
dude. Yeah,
exactly, for sure. So... yeah, I mean, good luck to him, man. Of course, none of us, I don't think any of us want to see Nissan go down that road of like liquidation and really minimization. So especially, none of us want to see that. So good luck to Espinoza. Okay, next on the docket, let's go Nissan Motor Carrier. Okay.
Nissan Motor Carrier.
So if you don't know what Nissan Motor Carrier is, it is a RoRo, a.k.a. roll on, roll off.
Oh, not like row your boat?
Right, yeah, no, it is a boat. Yeah, it is a boat, but it's basically a parking garage on the water, right? So what happens is they get these cars on, they get, strapped down, and they're just all parked in there. Yeah. They're wide open. This is how I got my R34 GTT was RoRo.
Dude, I didn't even think about them strapping it down. Holy cow,
dude, have you seen the C's out there?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
dude,
for sure. I just never
thought about that. They come to a pile of cans, dude, if they didn't strap those things down.
I think I seen a video of them like getting loose, I guess, like in a storm. And they're just all just smashing into each other.
Right. Can you imagine?
Being in that window and just watching all your cargo just...
Skyline's just like crumpling. So basically, right, it's a parking garage on wheels. It is the probably most efficient way to carry cars.
Yeah.
It is all enclosed, and they are actually, believe it or not, the safest boats on the water when it comes to piracy. So because of their shape and there is no deck, right? Because of that, it's very hard to get up. The ship is just smooth on all sides, and they're the least hijacked ship ever because of that. Their shape and the way that they are.
I see.
So yeah, I mean that's cool. The boat's not going to get stolen.
That's another thing that's pretty crazy. Like, dude,
piracy.
imagine pirates with your Skyline.
Wow. What the hell?
Sounds like a bad movie.
Yeah. Pirates stole my Skyline. Yeah, yeah. But so why? So what does this matter? Nissan Motor Carriers, they are discontinuing the shipping of used cars. So what this means is a car like my car came Nissan Motor Carriers, my 34 GTT. That wouldn't have been able to happen. So, so that's one less company that is now bringing these cars over. What does this mean? Well, of course it means higher prices because there's more demand. That's how it is. This is the world, right? If there's more demand, it's a higher price. It's a longer waiting time.
Right.
So that part stinks. And so now that also affects people doing container shipping cars, right? So so for example, my 34 GTR will come via container because Top Rank ships a container. Okay, so, you know, at first you're like, oh, well, dude, you're good. They're not stopping, you know, container ships.
Yeah.
You're all set. More demand, higher price, longer wait.
Yeah.
So now those guys that are like, we're on the fence between Ro-Ro and container. Now they're like, okay, well, Ro-Ro doesn't even make sense. Let's go container. Now they just took my slot and they just made it so it was a longer wait and more expensive because supply and demand, right?
Yep.
So why would they stop? Like what? Why? I don't understand. Why would Nissan Motor Carrier, who's been carrying used cars for 40 plus years, all of a sudden, April 1st or April 2nd, whatever it is, 2025, no more used cars.
Why is it? Who are they owned by?
So,
or how is that structure? And then,
right. So you would think that, you know, I didn't think because it has a different logo that it was owned by Nissan Motor Corporation.
Yeah.
And after some research, I realized that it's actually a partnership between Nissan Motor Corporation and like a van line company, a company that operates ships.
Right.
So Nissan owns 60%, that company owns 40%. That company operates it. Nissan, you know, financed a lot of it and then also gets a better rate on shipping their vehicles, right?
Right.
Of course, you know, that's...
they own the shipping company. They can
it's
get a better price.
Vertical integration.
Right.
For sure. You need to be able to get the best price, and if you own the company, you get the best price, right? So, okay, so cool. Nissan owns it. Okay, what does that matter? Well, our next subject, tariffs.
Yeah.
Right? So these companies are all freaking out right now, right? Trump is imposing tariffs that will jack up the price of their brand new vehicles that were not produced here, okay? And if you realize it, listening or not, right? And we've seen them from the plane, we've seen driven by them. There in Japan are just miles and miles of parking lots full of cars.
Yeah.
I saw the Civic Type R, the Honda Civic Type R parking lot.
Yeah.
It was insane to see all the blue cars, all the white cars, the tiny bit of red cars, the gray cars. Like, and it was just wild to see so many, you know, at once. And so now, you know, these companies, period, Toyota, Hyundai, Nissan, you know, not just Japanese companies, but all of these companies are like, okay, we need to get all the stock there now.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is going to reduce the MSRP for the end buyer. If we can get as many of these on the U.S. soil before the tariffs take action, then we can, even if it's a model year past, people are going to buy that over paying the tariff tax on the 2027 or 2026, right? So Nissan Motor Company was like, okay, well, we don't need to ship these used cars.
Yeah.
We need to ship our brand new cars, and we need to fill up every single lot over there, stack them double high. We don't care. Let's go, right? In that, it makes sense, right? They need to be selfish right now to pretty much also save their business, right? Because you put that tax, the tariff tax, same thing, on these Nissans. Now they're more expensive. Now people aren't buying them even more.
Even less desirable.
Yes. And now they're so they're freaking out. They're kicking all of our Skylines to the curb and they're shipping all their cars. Rightfully so. They need to save the company. Sucks for us, you know. So that's kind of what happened with Nissan Motor Carriers. You know, they just had to make a business decision, and that's where we're at. Now, after the tariffs subside, and people don't even think about this, right? They don't even think about this. You know, after, you know, after the tariffs are enacted and they're building these cars more in America, which is what Trump wants, essentially, supposedly, right? Nissan Motor Carrier's not shipping any Nissans over there.
Right.
Hardly. So now they're open for even more used cars because they have to stay in business.
I see.
This is a temporary thing,
Right.
which a lot of guys aren't thinking about. They're like, well, dude, if you got a 2006 that's just being stored in Japan, bro, you're going to be good. They're going to be begging you to put it on that boat because they don't even have their car stock coming over anymore.
Right.
Essentially, right? Who knows what'll really happen, but you know, that's what I would look to is like, dude, if you got an 04 or an 03, 02, you're probably going to be all good because they're just trying to get everything over here before the tariffs. You know, once the tariffs take effect, how much are they going to ship over here? Probably not much.
Right. This is just a surge.
Yeah,
And
it's a surge, right?
It only sucks, but like, what if they start a wave of other carriers shutting down their used car shipping for the new cars? Like, you know, the Toyota carrier or whoever else it might be.
It may be.
Like,
you know,
is this the start of a wave where, it might be a big surge of the spike in it, I guess you could say?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that could start that.
I mean, it could, but again, it'll be temporary. And that's only going to be, you know, ships that are owned by these manufacturers.
True.
There are other ships that aren't owned by manufacturers, obviously, and they're not going to cut out their bread and butter used cars.
Right.
Like, why would they? You know, so, but that does create more demand there for this surged period, right? And that means a longer wait and more money. So, okay, like the tariffs, right? You know, Trump says he's putting tariffs on these items in order to eliminate income tax, which in turn, long term, these tariffs would reduce our trillions and trillions of dollars of debt without us having to pay for it, right? That's his idea. That's what I get from it. I'm not saying I agree with it or I deny it. That's just simply what I've gotten from it.
Yeah.
So, in theory, I do get it. Of course, you know, nobody listening to this wants our country to be in debt. If you do, then, like, okay. You know, I think both sides can agree that the debt is part of our problem as a country.
Right.
So, why the Japanese cars, Trump? Come on, bro. Like, come on, dude. You see us whipping the right-hand drives. You hear the Skylines driving by, dude. How are you going to put a tax on that?
That's what I'm saying. He's just being a hater.
Like, dude, let us get sideways in peace, dude. And so, for me, okay, I got, you know, my car is eligible this December, of course, right? And who knows when these tariffs take effect? I personally have no clue.
Yeah.
But
I can't keep up.
I can't either. But, okay, let's just say it's before then. What does this add to my car? I already purchased this car. I own it. I prepaid for storage. I paid for registration in Japan, right? Like, I own this car completely. No debt on it. Now, okay, of course, I already knew I was going to have to pay a small tariff in the container shipping.
Right.
But that small tariff currently is 2.5%. I can live with that.
2.5%.
Hey,
That's not bad.
Like, okay, like I got to pay my country for bringing in this car that was manufactured and driven in a different country. 2.5% sucks on over $100,000.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm cool with
right?
it. Yeah. Now, these tariffs, it's like, you know, and we spent some time really trying to dig into this, and it's like they've kept it quite the secret.
Yeah.
We just know it's going to happen. We don't know when. We don't know how much.
Right.
Okay, that's like the big thing. But what we do know is back in 1964, what is it called?
The chicken tax.
The chicken tax was enacted. And this originally...
chicken tariff. Which
it
one
was the chicken tax.
Chicken tax, yeah.
And so essentially, it was originally on light trucks, potato starch, dextrin, and brandy. Okay, so, you know, whatever. Like, what's a chicken tax? 6%, 8%?
Yeah.
What is it?
25?
25%
on light trucks?
on light trucks.
25%.
25% currently since 1964. Okay. So we're talking, dude, 60, 70 years.
Yeah.
Like, and so now let's really think about this. This is on light trucks. They removed the potato starch, dextrin, and brandy.
Yeah.
This is just on light trucks. This chicken tax has quite literally formed the light truck market in the United States.
Oh, 100%, right?
And it does show the long-term effects of consistent tariffs. Okay, whether it's good or bad,
Yeah.
trucks driven in America are built in America for the most part.
Dude, it is crazy.
Yes, it is.
It's insane. Yeah, look them up. Like the Toyotas, the
Nissan,
the Honda Ridgeline, if you want to consider that a truck.
the Hyundai Santa Fe,
Yeah.
if you want to consider that a truck. These all
dude,
are
every
built
single
in
truck.
U.S. factories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It's
so
crazy.
that's because of that chicken tax. Because if Toyota was building those Tundras over in Japan and bringing them over, they would pay 25% on top, and you couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't buy it. You would go buy the GMC.
And also, I mean, I just thought about this just now. I wonder if that's why there's no more small trucks anymore, like even American trucks. There's not that small truck.
Right.
There's
yeah,
not.
they're all big
They're all huge.
for
Like
the most part.
The smallest one that I can think of is like a Ford Maverick, and it's like definitely bigger than the old Ranger.
Oh, for sure.
You
The
know,
old
like,
Ranger, the hard body
there's-
Nissans. Like,
Right. There's no like small truck anymore. And I wonder if that has to do something with taxes or a tariff as well.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Because they have to be a certain dimension. Like
Right.
the opposite of a K car, right?
Right.
We have to
right,
make
right.
our vehicles so big so they don't fall into
a category.
a category
Yeah.
for a different tax.
And so, upon our research, we look and we're like, okay, who does, does Ford and Chevy or GM build all of their trucks here?
Right.
Nope. They build some in Mexico.
Yeah.
So, without diving too deep,
Yeah.
we assume, because they're US based, they can use another country to build or assemble part of their vehicles and skip that tax, the chicken
Right,
tax. So it's just interesting, the way that things are, and what would it be like if the chicken tax stopped in 85?
Right.
Like, what would the landscape of the truck market, what companies wouldn't have made it?
Yeah.
Ooh, what companies wouldn't have made it in
Would it
08?
have been those American companies?
The ones that had to get bailed out?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. And so it is pretty crazy how the tariffs, just looking at this, like, cool, they're building their stuff here. Awesome. That's jobs for dude in Ohio, Mississippi, Texas. That's sweet. On the other hand, what have we lost or missed based on this tax that forced them to do that stuff there?
Right. We're having to buy this, kind of overpriced truck with all these things we don't necessarily need.
Right.
That's made for the U.S. consumer.
Yeah.
When really we just want, this kind of a beater with some crank
Right.
windows and some.
Yeah. Now they're all like Lux trucks.
Yeah, they're
right.
It's all.
They're like, yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, obviously some dudes do some badass hard work with these trucks.
Yeah.
But there are also dudes that just fill out paperwork in these trucks.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild, the way that our market has gone. So, okay, so what, okay, dudes, got it. But what does the tariff mean for me, dude? I was trying to buy that S15 and you're
Right.
scaring me, right?
Yeah.
Dudes, we don't know.
Yeah.
We have no clue. We can't find it. We cannot find any solid, like, this is going to be the tariff on used Japanese vehicles.
But there's
Cannot.
new articles every day about it.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
can definitely do reading on it every single day and scare yourself about it.
Yeah.
Or you could just go buy the car and go ahead and get it over.
Yeah, right now. Yeah, it's
or
not
buy
too
one
late.
stateside.
Yeah, or buy one stateside, but prices are going to go up.
Yeah, because of this.
Dude, all okay. If, let's just say, okay, there's speculation that they will match the chicken tax. I don't believe that.
The 25%?
Yeah, I don't believe that. But there's speculation that he will max that on a tariff or match it. Dude, U.S.
That's
U.S. vehicles, like as far as imports that have already been imported, this 33 GTR,
yeah.
dude, goes up 25%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not selling this for the price of a car that you could have gotten a year ago with no tariff.
Right.
I'm pricing this like a car that you're going to, just
Oh,
like
yeah,
that. Like, it goes up.
Dude,
There-
25% is a lot. That's $25,000 on a $100,000
100,000.
car. So
Yeah, so let's just,
$50,000 car is 12 and a half. Like,
dude, yeah, just imagine I'm like 30, 40 G's deep at 25% on my GTR. I've already paid for
Jesus.
the car, dude.
Right.
And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And so what is this going to do to the GTR market? It's going to make the prices go up astronomically. It is
Yeah.
going to fizzle out the purchases in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, it is going to completely change what we know as like this market right now.
That's crazy.
If they put 25% on all these cars, no one's even buying the low-key JDM cars
right.
anymore, because 25% on those, no one's buying that stuff over here.
Mm-mm.
So if they only go 10%, I could deal with that. It sucks,
Yeah.
but I could deal with that over 25.
25 is crazy.
That ends this.
Yeah.
Which is wild, you guys. Like, dude, 25% speculative, 25%, it ends even this. It ends this because no one can afford to do it. The guys that already have them over here really can't even sell them because nobody can afford to buy them. The demand goes way down.
Right.
You just have it, at
Yeah.
that point. So,
But if all this goes to plan, we should be in a better state
right,
as a
and
country
yes, and that's
to
his
afford
point.
that. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I kind of like them a little cheaper.
Like, yo, my income tax is not like 25%. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if that, like, on that level, I don't know if it balances
Right,
out.
right.
Like, because
yeah.
I'm also paying tariffs on all these other things. And I only just dropped my income tax. That's it. Like, you know what I mean?
Oof.
Like, sure, it's a decent amount, but I don't know if it balances out. And we'll see. This could not be this bad at all. It could just double up to 5%.
Right.
Like, we don't know, and
No idea.
and that is the hard part, guys, is just we really don't know. We want to just chat about it, speculate.
Mm-hmm.
Hit us up in the DMs if you got some sort of info that we missed here, right? Because that's what it's all about, is really just communicating as a community and bouncing these things off from each other. We just have a little platform to talk into some mics, and you guys get to listen to it. But definitely hit us up. Give us your perspective. We love to hear it.
Come in the group.
Yeah, come in the group. It's RHD guys JDM boys.
There it is.
Yeah, come in, join us. We chat about it. We throw things back and forth. And then, you can always hit us up on Instagram at RHDGUIS. And if you're looking for some merch, RHDGUIS.com. But we covered it all. We covered the tariffs. We covered Nissan. We covered Nissan motor carriers.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just hope the best for all of it.
Hope
right?
the best. Yeah. That's all we
Hope the
can
best.
do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But for episode 126, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.